Hello and welcome. I'm Katrina Pratt Roebuck, and I am the founder and CEO of Uplift Me. And Uplift Me is a national resource hub that provides information on social service events that happen across the country that addresses social determinants of health. We also highlight the great work of organizations here and around Philadelphia. So today I have with me Marisa Waxman, and she is the executive director of PICA. And PICA stands for the Pennsylvania Intergovernmental Cooperation Authority. So, welcome. Thank you so much for being here, Marissa.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Great. So, can you tell us about what PICA does and who you serve?
Sure. So PICA came into existence in the early 1990s when the city of Philadelphia was teetering on bankruptcy. We had basically, as a city, run out of money. Things were happening like city employees were asked to bring in their own toilet paper. Vendors weren't getting paid. They had police cadets graduating from the academy and they didn't have enough money for pants for their uniforms. The city was in really bad shape. And so the state created PICA, the Pennsylvania Intergovernmental Cooperation Authority, as an independent state authority to help get Philadelphia out of this hole. And we did it a couple different ways. One, we were able to borrow a bunch of money. Nobody would lend to the city at that time. Basically, their credit was terrible. Nobody would lend them money, even at a super high interest rate. And so the state was able to come in and use this brand new authority to borrow money so that the city could get out of that hole. But there were strings attached. And basically what they said is that my organization, PICA, needed to stay in business until the city paid back all of that money. And during that period, would have to get its act together in terms of how it was budgeting, how it was managing its finances, and do a better job. And so we have a bipartisan appointed board here at PICA, and each year they need to vote on whether or not to approve the City of Philadelphia's 5-year financial plan. The state law has different requirements. It has to be balanced. It has to be based on reasonable assumptions about how much money is coming in and how much they'll spend. And so the city has to demonstrate that it's being responsible with all of that. If it does, great, then the city is free to keep doing what it's doing. If not, though, until the city can come up with a plan that PICA's board is willing to approve, all state dollars are withheld. And that's a big deal. That's close to $1 billion a year. So it is a really big once a year thumbs up or thumbs down that the city needs to make sure it stays, being fiscally responsible. And PICA is here to monitor the city's finances and keep doing what it can to enhance the city's fiscal stability so that we don't get back into that emergency situation we were in the 90s.
Okay, I was just going to ask you, how long ago was that? And would you say, how long would you say it took for the city to sort of get back together and be in good standing again?
So it probably took through most of the 90s to, begin to get its credit together, pull itself together. And since then, it has been making tremendous progress. Obviously, some hiccups with the Great Recession and again during the pandemic. But the city's credit rating is now the highest it's been in 4 decades.
Wow.
So basically, its credit score has gotten way up, and that helps. People are willing to lend us money. We don't get charged as much interest for it. We can refinance money that we borrowed at a higher interest rate. The city's also made great progress in funding its pension. It's made promises to city workers in the past and needs to keep contributing to that and making sure that the pension fund's in good shape, because if that deteriorates, all of a sudden we'd have to shovel money into the pension, and that would take away from the resources we need for day-to-day service delivery for parks and libraries and rec centers and public safety. And so keeping the city's finances steady is really important to making sure that the city can deliver those community services that folks rely on.
That's wonderful that the city is in a great position, and the last 4 decades is a huge deal, I think, to say that it's been the best that it's ever been. I think that that's wonderful. Do you guys do anything in terms of long-term planning that perhaps you are working on something to help the city accomplish? Just trying to think of what would be your goals moving forward with the city. It's in a good standing, but are there any additional goals to the work that you do in addition to that?
Yeah, so the city has made a lot of improvements, but PICA was actually recently renewed by the state for another 25 years because there's still more work to be done. And so As a result, even though they paid back the money they borrowed in the early 90s, basically they've re-upped and said, we're going to keep doing 5-year financial plans because, you can hide a lot of stuff in a 1-year budget, but making sure the city keeps budgeting 5 years at a time means that you can't do any tricks. And that's really important. And PICA, while we're really pleased with the progress the city has made, there's still needs to do more. And so PICA continues to do research and work with the city to address issues like making sure the city has enough financial cushion, fund balance, emergency reserves for when things go sideways. Just like, folks in their own personal budget may try and set some money aside in case the hot water heater goes or the roof starts to leak. The city needs to do the same thing. And Philadelphia has started to be able to build up some cushion, but we're nowhere near where the Government Finance Officers Association says we should be and where a lot of our peer cities are. We should have about 2 months worth of spending in the bank, and Philadelphia is not there yet. And so PICA spends a lot of time trying to work with the city to get those reserves up and looking at other ways that the city can be really responsible in its budgeting.
Okay, great. Can you talk a little bit about sort of what everyday folks might need to pay attention to or would be interested in to know in terms of PICA's work? Can you talk about how that relates to everyday people, the work that you do?
Sure. So folks care about, am I getting the kind of services I want? How late is the library open? What does my rec center look like? And they also care about how much am I paying for this? How much is my property taxes each year? How much is a permit if I want to open a business or do some work on my house? And all of that plays into the city's finances and how we're doing. If the city is not bringing in as much money as it needs to spend to keep services up, that's not great. And so it's important for Philadelphians, whether you live here, own a business, to have a sense of what's going on in the city's wallet, in their pocketbook. And PICA is a place that folks can go to get that sort of information and understand, hey, what are the trade-offs being made? Unfortunately, the city, like everyone else, can't afford everything that it would like to do and has to make tough decisions. Understanding what those decisions have been and where the city is, are we, still on a good trajectory and you can be optimistic, or are things about to get harder, is important for people to understand when they are, say, deciding whether to open a business or buy a new home or move to a different neighborhood, when they're thinking about who to vote for, or when they're thinking about what do they care about and want to advocate for services, that they want more of this service or they're okay with a little less of that, or if they want to, they're willing to pay more to get more potholes filled, or they need to pay less because it's, they're struggling to pay their bills. And so PICA is a place that folks can get information about what's going on, before a problem comes up. If you're reading it as a headline in the newspaper, seeing it online, a problem's already happened. So if folks want to be involved and help advocate for the trade-offs they think are important, then PICA is a great place to get some foundational knowledge about what's going on, what's important, what those choices are.
Okay, great. And just because I'm not too familiar with all of the intricacies around your office and how it's led, is PICA led with administrations or is it independent from the political administrations?
So we have a bipartisan board. We have 5 appointees to our board. The governor makes one, and basically the House Speaker in Harrisburg, and then the minority leader of the House make another 2, and then the President pro tempore of the state Senate, and then the minority leader in the state Senate, they each make one. So depending, the mix between Democratic and Republican depends on what the governor's office is. So they are political appointees, but then they appoint myself, and I in turn appoint staff, and we are budget nerds. We are, sort of technical policy wonks who love digging into the city's finances. And so we're more about fact finding and putting it out there and making sure that our appointed board members, appointed by whatever party or political leadership, have the information they need to evaluate, is Philadelphia in good shape and getting better when it comes to its finances.
Got it. Okay. Is there, in terms of the reporting that you do, is that something that the public can find online?
Absolutely. We have a website, www.picapa.org. And if you go on there, you can sign up for our e-newsletter. And we really focus on making the information accessible and digestible. So we'll do a little snapshot on a particular tax type and where the money's coming from, or a particular type of spending. How does the city spend money on climate change, and how is it thinking about that? And so there are different reports on there that folks can check out. We also have different blog posts and information. And all of our meetings with our board are public. Folks can come and attend those in person or online. That information's on our website. So if you're looking to learn more, you can do it on your own schedule, on demand, or check us out at one of our meetings.
Okay, that's great. So it's great to hear that one, the city's in good standing and the best that it's been in 40 years. And it's also good to know that it is an open opportunity for people to learn more about how government is watched, monitored, and I think probably a really good opportunity for folks to understand a little bit better about how the city runs. So thank you. Thank you so much. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with us that perhaps the general public might not know about PICA?
That we are, in fact, a very small organization. There are only 4 staffers, and so we're here learning as much as we can. But if folks have information they want to share with us, reach out to us through our website. Our goal is really to just help Philadelphia be better when it comes to its finances, and we think creating an environment where more people know and understand why that's important is great. So we welcome engagement from the public. We really hope that more folks check us out and learn a bit more.
Oh, that's very cool. All right, well, thank you. I will make sure that we put that in the notes of this and appreciate you spending time educating us about PICA today. Thank you so much, Marisa.
Oh, thanks so much for the opportunity.
Take care.